So yeah, a Starlink satellite with a cell phone signal that would be prevalent in a good reception and connection and communications is simply going to have a really large dish with lots of little tiny receptors that receive specific frequencies of some broad band of frequencies per cell phone, per area, per wherever the satellite is located. It's going to receive millions, if not hundreds, thousands, or even thousands or billions of different frequencies on so many satellites and or one or more dishes of satellites with little tiny receptors. They're like tiny antennas that receive each frequency. And when it does, it can sit outside of the Earth and dish up a wide dish that can collect the angular vector upon the frequency reception of multiple satellites over a variety of area. And these signals, all it takes is one photonic frequency. If it's sensitive enough, it can cause that frequency to be received by multiple tiny computers that have the ability to receive that frequency, usually in gigahertz or something like that, gigahertz or terahertz or something like that. So usually gigahertz. And when it receives that photon, you can just send it back with the satellite, and the cell phone will also receive it based on where its region is and how to cast it. And it will basically just sit there, and you could just use satellite dishes. But now your communications will actually be a tiny bit slower than they would be if they were on a cell tower, because it takes a fraction of time longer to go out into space than it does to travel 30 miles down the road, obviously. So, but the cool part about it though is that it doesn't take up land space and it's more maneuverable. It can actually move, or they can put them in strategic locations where they wouldn't be able to do that. There are other options there. And then they can also direct the communication with like moving antennas and stuff around or dishes around. This is how Starlink would work. It's really not a complicated process. It's just issuing the communications processing. Now there's going to be probably have to be some AI embedded into the controls. And it probably will be significant. It'll be in the terahertz, gigahertz range most likely. And it may also use like white light or colored visible light for those kinds of radars, and it'll have a telescope on it so that it can see, cameras and things like that, and different devices to transmit all kinds of signals, maybe even X-ray detection and gamma detection and stuff like that, magnetic disturbance detection, gravitational detection, which is particulate. Gravity is a particle form. And all this. Starlink would probably be one of the best ways to communicate, but I'm okay with ground communications. I'm okay with cell towers. I'm okay with Starlink. However, it's probably going to cost a lot more to do Starlink, and it's just quite an adventure. I think ground communications and cell towers are probably the poor man's communications, and what it will do is take away the poor man being able to communicate unless he pays to ship his materials up to outer space.